In this episode, I go over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, April 20th, 2022. What's going on, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, April 20th, 2022. So if you're here to hear about the new comics coming out next week, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And of course, I have a couple of honorable mentions. I have my top 5, and then I also have my cover picks of the week. But before we get into all of that, I have my question of the week, right? Last week's question happened to be about how often do you read comic books? So I appreciate everybody who answered that question last week. I just recently released a video kind of going over those answers. So if you want to go check that out, I'll put the link in the description for that. My new question of the week is this: do you like to get comic books signed? So really curious of your thoughts on, do you get your comic book signed, and do you like to go about that process? I know there's a lot of different ways to go about it, whether you get them CGC'd or you just have the creator sign it right then and there. Is it something that you keep in your personal collection? Do you do it to increase the value of the book? Do you think that it decreases the value of the book? There's a lot of little sub questions that can go along with it, but the general question is, do you like to get comic books signed? So if you're interested in answering this question, if you have a thought or an opinion on this, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I plan to create another video separate from this. It'll be, streamed probably on a Wednesday of next week. So I'll read off a couple of those comments. And again, everybody who participates in this, I really do appreciate that. These have been a lot of fun and definitely have turned into a lot more than I thought it was going to turn into in terms of me, getting, all of you answering these questions and me talking about them later on. It's been a lot of fun and interesting to hear kind of some of the angles of how people look at these questions and what I've been putting up there. So hope you're learning something from it. I'm definitely learning something from it and having a lot of fun doing it. With all that being said, let's get into my books for this week coming up, New Comic Book Day, my picks. And of course, I'm going to do a couple honorable mentions. So the first one I want to quickly mention here is that we have a Wolverine book coming out, issue number 20. For anyone that's been following along with Benjamin Percy, I love what Percy has been doing, generally speaking, with like the X Lives and X Deaths of Wolverine. I'll admit I'm a little behind on this particular series, but that's something I'd like to catch up on soon. So I just wanted to put that out there. Anybody that's reading some of this current Wolverine, that's coming out. The next one I wanted to mention is Catwoman Lonely City, issue number 3, which I thought issue 2 just came out after being pushed back. I don't know exactly. I'm hoping that that's accurate, but I've been hearing nothing but great things, and I should clarify, I have not actually read any of this series yet, but that's how much faith I'm putting into this, because now that the 3rd issue is coming out, I'd like to binge read those 3 issues, so yeah, that's my plan for that. And yes, it is a DC Black Label book, and I stand by those. Those have been so great. They have not let me down yet, so I'm curious to, let me know in the comment section below if you're reading this right now, if you're enjoying it, what your thoughts are, without any spoilers, of course. But yeah, so that just wanted to add that to the honorable mentions. And then the third book I wanted to mention here is Trial of the Amazon. This is the Wonder Girl issue number 2, technically part 6 of the Trial of the Amazons that have been coming out. This particular one is written and created by Joel Jones. Love this cover here. I actually wanted to also get it because I bought issue 1, and they are obviously connecting covers, as you can see here. So want to get it for that. And so I'm really excited, and got to catch up a little bit with that series as well, but just wanted to put those out there. Okay, so I'm going to get into the top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week. And remember, stick around, because after that, I'm going to talk briefly about my cover buy of the week. And you know how I can't help myself sometimes. There's always that cover that's out there, regardless of if I'm reading the series or not, that I have to have. So I will talk about that at the end of the series as well. And also, real quick, shout out to the premiere chat. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. As always, if you don't know, these videos premiere every Thursday, 12:30 Eastern, here on the channel. So appreciate everybody who takes the time to watch, whether it be here live right now, or if you're watching the replay, I appreciate that as well. So let's get into number 5. My top 5 pick here from my top 5 picks in general. Number 5 goes to Doctor Strange, Nexus of the Nightmares, or of Nightmares, I should say. Nexus of Nightmares, issue number 1. I'm putting this on here simply because it is Doctor Strange, and I am on this massive Doctor Strange kick. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the hype with the movie and everything else like that, but ever since I read, I think it was Doctor Strange issue 16, 16 that was suggested in the X-Men, the Omni X-Men show that John and I have been doing, breaking down this omnibus right here. It was a previous, trying to think of the issue now, giant size, no, not giant size, king size annual, I think it was 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, Doctor Strange has a visit from there, and then in that, it recommended this flashback to go check out 16. So I read that. Since then, I've been on this huge kick for Doctor Strange. I've been talking to my man Paul, aka back-to-back issues, and he and we actually are going to be planning something soon to talk about Strange issue number 2, by the way, coming up next Thursday. But that's a whole other deal. Keep an eye out for that. But yeah, so I'm excited to see that this is a new series coming out. I don't know much else about it. Doctor Strange, Nexus of Nightmares, issue 1. The writer, Ralph Macchio, who I'm very familiar with his name, and Abraham Mustafa is doing the artwork here. And let's see, the cover art is by Todd Knock. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Todd Knock. But really cool cover and looks epic to me. Don't know much else about what's going on. But yeah, it's Doctor Strange, so I am down to give it a try. And that's why I wanted to put it on my top 5 for the top 5 list here. So coming in at number 5, Doctor Strange, Nexus of Nightmares, issue number 1. Let's see, going into my number 4 pick, going over to DC here, we're going to go with World's Finest. This is issue number 2. Kind of surprised to see this on my list because, well, I don't read much Superman other than Superman Son of Kal-El, but I wanted to give this a try. So when the first issue came out, Batman, technically it's called Batman, Superman, World's Finest, and this is issue number 2. One of the other things that really caught my attention is that it's written by Mark Waid. Who I mean obviously has a very recognizable name, and the other reason too, the artwork is being done by Dan Mora. He has done the interior and also the cover that we're looking at right here. Yeah, so we're just getting started, kind of seeing where things go. Right now, Superman is in really bad shape, and while Batman's trying to figure things out, they're actually going to be working with Doom Patrol, which is why if you're looking at this cover, it's called The Day of Doom Patrol, and they're listed here. And going to be helping out as well. So I'm curious kind of where this crossover or where this mesh is going to go. Seems like there might be a little bit of a side story in this as well from what it's mentioned here on the listing. But either way, I won't get into too much detail, but definitely I really enjoyed issue 1. A lot of action right off the bat. And, I don't know. I feel like people put down Superman, that he's boring, that he's too perfect, all these other things, which I have agreed with for a very long time. But I will say that the way that this issue opened up, I shouldn't say this issue, but issue 1 opened up, like I said before, Superman's actually in a lot of trouble right now. Yeah, so it's not just like an automatic, easy day for him per se. So I'm very curious to kind of see where things go, how the Doom Patrol team's going to work with Batman and Lois and everyone else that's involved. So anyways, that is going to be my number 4 pick of the week. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, issue number 2. Let's see. Going into my number 3 pick, I have to go with a Chip Zdarsky book, Batman the Knight, issue number 4. This is actually issue 4 of 10, and if anybody doesn't know, Chip Zdarsky recently has been announced that he's going to be taking over the Batman title, and I'm curious if any of it had to do with this, how he's been putting this out, but this has been a really, really great read. I know, I say this every time too, there's a lot of Batman books out there in general, and I know that, some people might be sick of that, and if that's not, if it's too much for you, I totally get it, but I will say, I try not to hold back on just because another Batman book's coming out, because you never know when that next great Batman story is going to come along. The reason I wanted to give this a shot is because Chip Zdarsky is writing it. And I'm glad I did because I'm really enjoying it. It is another kind of form of an origin story for Batman. It's a little different though than your typical stuff. So, for me, and I remind people all the time, I am obviously very new still to reading a lot of the different comics, especially Batman. I don't have too much of a history with reading Batman stuff other than some of the Tom King stuff and some of the James Tynion stuff, along with some of the older classics. But not too much, right? I haven't read too many. Just read year 1 for the first time just a month ago. So, just to give you perspective kind of where I'm at with that. So, yeah, I am excited to read this next issue because the series as a whole has been really good. If you like Batman in general, I do recommend it. If you like Chip Zdarsky, I do recommend it. He's been killing it with Daredevil. He has a lot of other projects going on like Stillwater. And like I said, he's going to be taking over the Batman main title soon. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, so that's why I had to give it a shot here. The artwork and the cover art that we're looking at here is Carmine Di Giandomenico. Di Giandomenico. Sorry, I apologize. But yeah, I am also really enjoying the artwork to that as well. There's a variant cover I see. But yeah, so it's only 10 issues. This is issue 4 coming out for that. And that is going to be my number 3 pick of the week, Batman the Knight, issue number 4. Very good. So we actually have technically two Batman books on this list so far. All right, going into my number 2 pick of the week. This is tough because these last two really are 1A and 1B in a way, and I say that fairly often, but it really is true. It is just so tough to choose between these two particular series, but I did stand my ground. I did make a choice here. So my number 2 pick of the week goes to another DC book, technically DC, kind of reads a little bit more as an indie title, but I am talking about The Nice House on the Lake, issue number 8. James Tynion is back. He's been back since issue 7 last month after he took that little hiatus of about 3 or 4 months. So I've been really excited for that. I loved how issue 7 picked up right where issue 6 left off. If you were confused, I recommend reading back through issue 6 again, just to kind of clarify some things. I personally had to do that to just make sure I understood where I was at again with issue 7, because it's wild. It is wild, and certain things kind of flip around. So, also want to highlight that Alvaro Martinez Bueno doing the artwork for this. And by the way, I was just talking to my man Alan, aka Climbing Comics. He had mentioned that, I didn't realize this, that the two of them, James Tynion and Alvaro Bueno, they worked together on a previous run. I think it was the Justice League Dark, which I know I've heard really great things about that series, and I've seen the omnibus for that. It's like a massive omnibus. So yeah, I didn't know that they worked on that together. I knew Tynion was involved, but Bueno, I had no idea. I had no idea that he was part of that, or at least I didn't pay enough attention, or didn't know Bueno at the time, and now I know him now thanks to this series here. So anyways, I am excited for this, and it easily could be number 1. I'm also collecting all the covers, all the cover A's, I should say. So, they all have that similar theme, as if it's like in the dark and a flashlight being shined on one individual. And there's like 12 different people that we've met that are all in this house together, kind of figuring out what is going on as the world has now burned, and their friend that has kind of brought them all together here has kind of left them in limbo, and hasn't explained too much else. So Walter, some questions for Walter for sure, but he's playing some mind games, and so we'll see what the big picture is. I hope this really leads to something epic, because the way this has been structured and built out, what Tynion has been doing, and especially introducing us to each of these characters, giving us a feel for the relationship that each of these characters have with Walter, and how that kind of plays a role into the actual issues themselves. There's a lot of backstory to a lot of this, and I really appreciate that. So, of course, again, that is why it is my number 2 pick of the week, talking about Nice House on the Lake, issue number 8 by James Tynion. And let's see. Getting down to my last book here, but before I do, again, want to remind everybody, smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Also, quick update, this Saturday, coming up, I have another Comic Collector Origins, and I cannot wait, because my guest is my great friend, Michael, aka Soph Collector. He is somebody, he might be in the chat right now, actually. Soph Collector, hanging out. He's always supporting the channel. He's always supporting the Comic Collector Origins, and even these premiere videos, amongst other things. So, Michael, you've just been such a tremendous person, and a great friend. Truly glad to call you my friend, and I'm excited to pick your brain and interview you about your origin story. In case anybody doesn't know, Comic Collector Origins, it's all about the guests that I bring on, the community members, and I ask them how they got started in this hobby. So yeah, if you're looking to find out more about Michael, Soph Collector, make sure you swing by the channel this Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern, and definitely looking forward to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And then other than that, I think yeah, just remember my question of the week. I'll put that back up here on screen. Do you like to get comic books signed? Again, if you missed it from the beginning, that is the question of the week. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will read through a bunch of them for my Wednesday video that goes up every Wednesday now, that I've been kind of getting into the gist of for questions of the week. But yeah, so let me know about that. And anyways, let's get back into my number one pick, which of course I am so predictable. I mean, maybe you've guessed it already. If you haven't already, I'd love to see your guesses come in in the premiere chat. But if you know me, you know that basically anytime this title comes out, it's basically a number one or a two. It's very rare that it's any further back than that, although there have been weeks. But of course, I am talking about Nightwing, and we are now on issue 91. We are moving and grooving with this series, and I am just loving every minute of it. Yeah, it's my favorite series. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Tom Taylor just absolutely has my heart every time. I mean, anytime he puts out a book, it's on my top five, right? Anybody who's been watching this recently, you know I'm going to pick it. You know I'm going to talk about it. Tom Taylor, I just love his style of writing. I love Nightwing. I didn't know anything about Nightwing before this. So any of you that might be new to the channel or new to hearing my thoughts on this, because I know a lot of you are like, all right, Justin, we get it, man. You can just move on to the cover buy of the week. But you know, this is how I feel, right? Any chance I get to talk about Nightwing, I'm going to do so. And yeah, so for me, I used to not know anything about Nightwing. Never read anything about him. Barely knew the character other than that he used to be a Robin and you know, worked with Batman. And I read issue 78 from Tom Taylor because that's when Tom Taylor took over the run. And I just fell head over heels in love with the series. Nightwing has become one of my favorite DC characters now. Never thought I'd even clarify that I have a DC character or favorite character, because I was just never into DC up until then. And just a reminder, that's only, I mean, like less than a year ago that 78 came out. So I have really been all in ever since that book. And now we're getting a little extra flavor here with Flash, Wally West, right? He's involved here, and I haven't read a lot of Flash up until recently either. So nice little change up there. I loved the last issue. We're just coming off of a tie-in that we got from Superman, Son of Kal-El, tying in with Nightwing. So those have been really cool as well. So definitely check those issues out, the kind of crossover. And then, yeah, nice to see Wally West in here, as I don't know too much about him. And shame on me, because I should, because my dad drew a lot of his stuff in the 90s. You'd think I know more by then, but of course, I got to highlight my man, Bruno Redondo, the artist, and of course, the artwork that you're looking at right here on cover A. Always beautiful stuff, and he just kills it every time. So, yeah, really excited to see where this goes. You know, it's definitely kind of in the middle of a story arc right now, so make sure you kind of jump back if you haven't already. I would do that before jumping right into 91. And if you haven't read any of it, just go to 78. Just go read 78. Go read that first story arc. Guarantee you'll fall in love, and you'll be right there with me, and we can talk about this all day, every day if you want. You can just DM me, and we can talk about it. But anyways, that is going to be my number one pick of the week, Nightwing, issue number 91. And don't go away, because I do want to discuss my cover by the week real quick, and so I'm going to put it up on screen here. And of course, I got to go with Philadelphia cover A, Jason Sean Alexander, killing it with these covers. And I'm excited because I'm reading this, right? So it works out when my cover buy of the week is a book that I'm also reading. And the other cool thing is I'm actually caught up right now, at least with this new story arc. So this is technically part 3 of the new story that's been being put out. And, you know, I've had a lot of fun recently reading and reviewing the Philadelphia series with Moonlit Comics and a bunch of friends that have joined us throughout some of those streams. So yeah, I am getting ready now to dive into this on a monthly basis instead of waiting for the trade. Just gonna go with it, see how it goes, because I did enjoy reading it trade by trade, but I want to give it a go now that I'm caught up. So I'm gonna knock out these 3 issues and then be all caught up from there and just keep reading along. And it'll probably be showing up in my top 5 picks. It probably should have been in my top 5. I didn't leave it there just because I knew there was going to be a cover by the week, so that gave me the excuse to talk a little bit about it. But look how beautiful this cover is right here. I won't get into detail because if you haven't read a lot of it, I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, definitely a series worth checking out if you haven't already. Whether you like vampires or not, it's a really interesting kind of spin-off that Rodney Barnes has been doing. And of course, Jason Sean Alexander, he's been killing it with all the interior stuff, all the covers that he's been putting out. as well as all the Nita Haw stuff that's been coming out. It's kind of a tie-in to the main series, Philadelphia, and the world that Rodney Barnes has been building on. So, yeah, beautiful cover here. Absolutely love this, and no matter what, going to be my cover buy of the week. And let me know in the comment section below. Do you have a cover buy of the week? Is this one that you're going to be getting? And if not, then let me know what you're buying, or if you're just sticking to the books that you're reading. So, which I totally understand. If you don't have a cover buy, if you don't cover buy, totally get that, totally respect that, and it's probably better, right? Save a little bit of money. But like I said, it works out for me here because I'm also reading this series. So, but yeah, so that's going to do it for me here today. Again, remember, these are all books coming out next week, April 20th, for New Comic Book Day. And again, it's another great week for comics. I always say that. Hope everybody's doing well. Again, appreciate everybody who's taken time to leave a comment in the comment section below, hanging out with me here in the premiere chat as well. Appreciate you there. Hopefully, I'll see you Saturday when I'm talking to my man, Sove Collector, Michael. That should be a lot of fun for Comic Collector Origins. But other than that, make sure you smash the like button on the way out. And until next time, I will talk to you later.